Hello, we're going to take another look at the Caro-Kann, the Bronstein Larsen variation. In this game we're going to be looking at the themes of quick development, taking advantage of a mistake, and using overwhelming force to win the game. The ECO code will be B16, and this, like I said, will be a Caro-Kann Bronstein Larsen variation. So let's get started. White opens up with E4, C6, D4, D5, knight to C3, D takes E4, knight takes E4, knight to F6. Black invites white to take the knight, and he obliges with knight takes F6 and G takes F6, which is the opening position for the Bronstein Larsen variation of the Caro-Kann. Black hopes to use his open G file and his H pawn to crack open white's king side. He'll also be looking at castling queen side, just to kind of give you an idea of what he has in mind. White plays C3, bishop to H5, which is the normal position for to develop this bishop in this particular opening. White plays knight to F3, E6, with the idea of bringing the bishop to D6. White plays G3. He wants to limit Black's ability to attack on the king side, so he plans on heading the bishop and making it a little bit more difficult for Black to break through. Black plays knight to D7, continuing his development, and White plays bishop to G2. Black plays bishop to D6, according to plan. White castles king side. Black plays queen to C7. And now Black plays rook to E1, lining up his rook against Black's king, which is always a good idea. Either if you have opportunity, it's always good to have that rook there. You can use it to possibly use a discovered attack or something like that against the king. White plays H5, beginning his thematic attack of the king side using his H-pawn. White plays knight to H4, attacking the bishop at F5. The bishop retreats to H7, which is a mistake. He leaves his H-pawn undefended, and of course White scoops it up very quickly. Now Black makes a second mistake. He plays knight to B6. And this is where, in the beginning of the video, I talked about taking advantage of mistakes and using overwhelming force. Black's made two mistakes. He's dropped a pawn, and now he's left himself open to a pin with the white queen pinning the pawn, the F7 pawn, with the queen and king. And White plays rook takes E6 check. And like I said, he cannot retake with the pawn because of the queen pinning it. So now White is up 2 pawns and Black's in trouble. Black plays bishop E7. White continues his development. Bishop to F4, gain under tempo, attacking the queen. Queen moves to D7. White continues with rook at A to E1, doubling his rooks on the E file, putting more pressure on the bishop at E7. And Black plays king to D8. Actually, after White had played rook at A to E1 in the game, Black had resigned. But I'm going to show you two variations from here, how the game could have continued. The first one, Black plays king to D8, and White would play rook takes E7, queen takes E7, rook takes E7, and now king takes E7. So White has a queen and bishop and 2 pawns for 2 rooks. Pretty good trade. White's ahead in material. White continues with queen to C5 check, king to D8, queen to D6 check, knight to D7, queen to C7 check, king to E8, queen to B7, or queen takes B7, king to e7, bishop takes c6, adding more and more material. Black would defend, let's say rook at a to d8, queen takes a7, takes another pawn. Now black's got 4 pawns on the queen side that he could use very easily to advance and gain another queen. Black plays bishop to d3, black plays d5, and that's pretty well it for black to stop the variation here. But you can see in this variation that white had an overwhelming position and he took advantage of it. So let's go back to the position after rook at a to e1 where black actually resigned in the game, and let's take a look at the variation of knight to c8. These are, by the way, the 2 strongest lines that Fritz said that black could use to defend with, which in both cases white has an overwhelming position. White would play rook takes f6, again using the rook, which is pinning the king or the bishop to the king, is unable to recapture. Black plays rook to f8, white plays queen takes h7. He now has a bishop and 3 pawns on the plus side. Black plays king to d8, knight to g6, attacking the rook. Black takes f takes g6. White plays rook takes e7. Black takes queen takes e7. White takes rook takes f8 check. Queen takes f8. Queen to c7 check. King to e8. Queen takes b7. Knight to e7. Queen takes a8 check. King to f7. And really, if he wanted to, he could take queen takes queen and 2 bishops and a knight. 2 bishops versus a knight is more than enough for white to win with. He's also up 4 pawns, and there's no sense playing any further. But anyway, I know this is a very short game. I just wanted to show that another game of this Bronstein Larsen variation. I showed 2 games where black won, 2 games where white won. This was pretty well a blowout, but it just showed that I'm going to go back to this one move here where black decides to play h5. This was move 11 for black. He really should have, at this point, went ahead and castled long and then started his attack with h5. But by doing so, he got a little bit ahead of himself, didn't complete his development before he started his attack. And as a result, white won the pawn, had the king pinned, and went on to win very easily. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I know it was a very short one, but I hope there's some good themes here that everyone could learn from. And